Imagine being 41 years old. You've won everything. 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions League titles. You are the all-time top scorer in football history. You are closing in on your 1,000th career goal. And yet, right before the biggest tournament on the planet, the entire football world is asking one question. Not about your legacy, not about your records, about whether you should even be starting. World Cup 2026 is here. Portugal is considered one of the strongest squads in the tournament. But the conversation isn't about Bruno Fernandes. It isn't about Bernardo Silva. It isn't about Ruben Dias. It's about whether Cristiano Ronaldo has finally become Portugal's biggest problem. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this World Cup could either be the greatest ending in football history or the most painful exit a legend has ever suffered. Start with what Portugal actually brings to this tournament, because the squad alone should make every opponent nervous. Under Roberto Martinez, Portugal qualified with relative ease. The team won 10 straight road games heading into Euro 2024, claimed the Nations League, and now arrives at the World Cup with arguably the deepest talent pool in the nation's history. Diogo Costa is a penalty-saving machine, the goalkeeper who saved 3 consecutive penalties against Slovenia at Euro 2024. Ruben Dias anchors the defense. Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, João Neves, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, every name on that sheet is elite-level talent. Ruben Dias posted on social media, "Leaders don't run from expectations." Portugal has the quality, experience, and mentality to compete with anyone. Bruno Fernandes added, "Inside the dressing room, the focus is simple: win together." These are not hollow words from average players. These are statements from 2 of the most important footballers in world football right now. So with all of this elite talent surrounding him, why has Ronaldo's name become a controversy instead of a celebration? The trigger was Portugal's final preparation match against Nigeria. Portugal won. That should have been the entire story. But Ronaldo's performance produced multiple missed chances, visible frustration on the pitch, and a finishing touch that once terrorized defenders around the world absent. Social media detonated within minutes. Clips of every missed chance spread across platforms and were replayed in slow motion, analyzed from every angle. @StatsGrewFC responded immediately. Every missed chance from Ronaldo is now analyzed frame by frame. That's the reality when you're one of football's greatest icons. @ESPNFC framed it directly. Ronaldo's form has become one of the biggest talking points ahead of World Cup 2026. Can the veteran captain silence the critics one more time? The fans who once defended him against every single critic suddenly divided. The question that followed was simple but uncomfortable. Was this one bad day? Or had the warning signs been building for much longer? Give Ronaldo's World Cup record its full credit, because it is historically unmatched. 6 World Cup appearances, 22 matches, 8 goals. No player in history has ever done this. He is approaching his 1,000th career goal at 41 years old, a number that is almost impossible to comprehend in the context of professional football longevity. Fabrizio Romano stated, "Final World Cup, huge expectations, and another chance to chase the one trophy missing from his legendary career." Roberto Martinez has publicly defended Ronaldo's place in the squad. The manager stated, "His commitment, experience, and leadership remain extremely important for this squad." But here is the tension that no amount of managerial loyalty resolves. Reputation and current form are 2 completely different conversations, and in 2026, Portugal can no longer afford to blur the line between them. Jamie Carragher put it plainly, "International football is ruthless. Portugal must make decisions based on performance, not reputation." The tactical debate that Martinez now faces is not straightforward. Portugal's system under the Spanish manager is built on fluid positional rotations, Fernandes and Bernardo Silva constantly swapping roles, Neves and Nunes operating as both midfielders and fullbacks, Cancelo and Dalot comfortable on either flank. The squad has at least 7 untouchable starters. Ronaldo is one of them, but increasingly, that decision is being debated publicly in football circles across the world. The uncomfortable question growing inside those circles: does Portugal's attack actually function better without Ronaldo as the central figure? @TacticalTom addressed it directly. This isn't about legacy. It's about whether Portugal's attack is more dynamic with younger forwards getting larger roles. @Sky Sports News reported the growing divide. Debate growing in Portugal. Should the attack continue to revolve around Ronaldo, or is it time for the younger generation to take center stage? If you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, we're pushing hard for 500 subscribers on this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this World Cup content is only getting bigger from here. What Martinez is dealing with is no longer purely a football decision. It has become a political decision. If Ronaldo starts and underperforms, critics accuse Portugal of making an emotional choice over a tactical one. If Ronaldo is dropped or benched, the backlash would be international news within hours. Supporters across the globe would call it a betrayal of the greatest player in the nation's history. Every substitution Martinez makes will generate headlines. Every tactical tweak risks igniting another controversy cycle that pulls focus away from the football. At Football Critics frame the situation bluntly. Portugal's biggest challenge may not be their opponents. It may be managing the expectations surrounding Ronaldo. But at Gary Lineker offered the counterpoint that history firmly supports. Writing off Cristiano Ronaldo before a major tournament has rarely ended well for his critics. We've seen this movie before. Piers Morgan went further. The disrespect toward Ronaldo is unbelievable. One difficult game and suddenly people forget 2 decades of greatness. Then set that directly against Carragher's position, and you have the exact debate that Portugal's fan base is living inside right now, in real time with the tournament already underway. Pull back from tactics for a moment, because this story is also deeply personal. After Qatar 2022, Ronaldo wrote on social media, "The dream ended." Portugal's quarterfinal exit against Morocco closed what many believed was his final chapter on the World Cup stage. 4 years later, he came back, at 41 years old, for one final shot at the only trophy his career has never held. At Cristiano posted ahead of the 2026 tournament. Dreams never expire. One more World Cup. One more opportunity to fight for Portugal and give everything for our fans. This World Cup also carries grief alongside ambition. Martinez has spoken about carrying a personal mission beyond winning. It is a responsibility to fight for Diogo's dream. A direct reference to Diogo Jota, whose absence from the game adds emotional weight to what Portugal is fighting for. At World Cup Central captured the broader significance. Ronaldo's 6th World Cup appearance is one of the defining storylines of the tournament. History is waiting. This is not just a football campaign. It is a story with layers that go far beyond what happens on the pitch. 2 possible endings exist, and the contrast between them could not be more extreme. Scenario A, the fairy tale. Ronaldo scores in the opener. The debate evaporates overnight. Portugal goes on a deep run through the tournament. The captain lifts the trophy. The missing piece of football's greatest career finally found. The perfect ending to the most extraordinary story the sport has ever told. Scenario B, the painful exit. Portugal struggles. Every missed chance gets replayed on loop across every platform. Critics revisit every lineup controversy. The conversation stops being about 2 decades of greatness and starts being about whether the nation held onto the past for too long. A legend's final chapter written not in triumph but in debate. At Fanzone Global framed the split perfectly. Half the football world wants a fairy tale ending. The other half thinks Father Time finally wins. World Cup 2026 will decide the answer. At Football Talk HQ identified exactly how quickly this can shift. If Ronaldo scores in the opener, this entire debate disappears overnight. That's how quickly football narratives change. At World Football Hub summarized the entire weight of this moment in one line. Legacy versus performance. Experience versus evolution. Ronaldo's final World Cup has become football's most fascinating debate. Football history doesn't remember how legends entered the stage. It remembers how they left it. Ronaldo has spent 20 years writing one of the greatest stories the sport has ever seen. 5 Ballon d'Ors, 5 Champions Leagues, 8 World Cup goals across 6 tournaments, closing in on 1,000 career goals at an age when most players had been retired for nearly a decade. World Cup 2026 will write the final chapter. One goal could silence every critic on the planet. One early exit could redefine how an entire generation remembers him. The tournament has only just begun, and football's most fascinating question has never had higher stakes. If you enjoy real football breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.